think it's safe to say that no one got into food blogging because they loved email marketing. And yet, the bloggers that I know who are running the most successful and profitable businesses have one thing in common. And it's not their SEO strategy and it's not their Instagram strategy, it's their email list. So I called in email marketing expert Liz Wilcox to help us out here. Now, full disclosure, this video was recorded a while back before I knew that I was going to be posting it on YouTube. And so I need you to just bear with me on the video quality because Liz's tips are so good that I didn't want you to miss out on them. The fresh princess of email marketing, Liz Wilcox, is an email strategist and keynote speaker showing small businesses how to build online relationships and make real money with emails. She's best known for turning a $9 offer into multiple six figures without ads and helping you untangle that email knot with her email staircase. She loves the 90s, headbands, and the beach. Be sure to check out the video description below for all of the links of how you can connect with Liz and learn about her email marketing membership. All right, let's jump in. Hey Liz, welcome to the Vine podcast. We are so pumped to have you here. For those of the listeners who do not know you, will you just give us a quick introduction to who you are and how you got into this crazy online world that we live in?
Yeah. So, you know that feeling you get when you listen to an awesome podcast like Madison's and, some crazy lady is on and she's talking about email and she's getting you so super hyped. You're like, yeah, I'm going to email. And then you log into Kid or whatever the heck you use and you probably feel kind of dumb. You have no idea what to say. Well, what up? My name's Liz Wilcox. I help eliminate that problem. Yep, even for you. I got into this because just like you, I was a blogger. I was in the travel industry. And, listening to podcasts like this, everybody and their mother said, oh, I wish I would have taken my email list more seriously. And mama didn't raise no fool. I'm nothing if not efficient. I was like, well, I'm going to skip all the, boring blogging stuff. And I'm just going to grow my email list. So I have a direct line to my readers. And that's what I did. So after a few years of blogging, I realized, wow, I'm really good at email. So I sold my blog and I've been teaching email ever since.
That's awesome. And I know that you know your stuff, but do you want to kind of give us a couple high level, what has email done for your business? Because I know a little bit of this backstory from hearing your talk at Flavor Media Summit, but I really think it puts into perspective why email matters. And it's not just this thing that everybody's saying and we should just ignore. So what has focusing on email done for your business, your life, kind of help us understand why it's so important?
Listen, email has done everything for my business. Email has made me a real business. Okay. Email has given me real money. Y'all, I'm looking out my window right now and I see the water. Like, email did that. I could not have done that without email marketing. Email has provided a consistent, reliable revenue source. So even when I was a blogger, of course I was making money through ads, sponsorships, little things here and there. But what I really was making money from was my email list. Even with getting sponsorship dollars, I was able to command higher prices with sponsors because I had a list of their ideal customers, right? So it was twofold in the blogging that, I could talk directly to my customers. I could send them affiliate offers and make affiliate income. I could send them offers of my own and make income from that. I had an ebook, I had a course, I had printable, you name it, I had it, right? I was selling it. I was slinging, baby. I think bloggers can relate. And then on that sponsorship side, I was able to command higher dollars than even people who I was making more money than people who had like 50, 60,000 followers on Instagram, Facebook, even though I had an email list of 5,000 because they knew that was a direct line. So email has completely changed my life. It's allowed me, I support 3 households from my one email list. And y'all, I got a nice house. I got a nice house. And that's not to brag. That's bragging about the power of email marketing. Like, I could not believe it. Y'all, I grew up so poor. When I was in high school, I lived in a one-bedroom trailer. My sister don't like me telling this story, but we did. We lived in a one-bedroom trailer with 7 people, and the indoor plumbing just didn't work right, and we had a tarp on the roof, and y'all, we lived in Florida, so it was always raining, okay? It was nasty in there. And now I'm looking at the water, like legitimately right this second. And it's insane to me. Like I grew up, and I don't know about you listening, but I grew up like, if you want to make more money, you got to work harder, right? A lot of us come from that. Maybe you weren't living in a trailer like me, but your parents probably told you that, right? And I don't know anybody who works less than me. Like I really like today was a full day and it was the first full day I've had since like May. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to work 6 and full day is 6 hours for me." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is the longest I've had to work since May." Like that's actually insane. Like I know you're probably are listening to this and like rolling your eyes like, "Oh my gosh, this lady's so privileged. This lady so this, so that." But I say all that because I just cannot freaking believe that it's possible. And I am like, those people in the white shirts and the black slacks coming up to your door. Like, do you have a moment to speak about email marketing? Like, I cannot believe how email changed my life. And I want it to change yours too.
I love all of that so much. And there was, I mean, your story is amazing in general, just like the transformation that you've gone through. But I also want to highlight that email marketing is not a part of your business. Like it is your business. And I think that is one area that food bloggers, and I am speaking to the choir or like preaching to the choir, being myself in this, like email is a small fraction of what food bloggers focus on for the most part. Not everybody, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
we still have our food blog as the primary thing that we're doing. And then the email is like, how can we use that to support the website, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but I think it paints the maybe I don't even maybe it's that we're not taking email as serious as we could when it could be that that's your whole business if it's positioned right. And so hopefully, for those of you who are listening that are like, yeah, I do a little bit of email. I send an email once a week or whatever. Like hopefully after this episode, you're going to really be encouraged to like triple down on that, to spend more time on it and to focus in the right, areas. So something that I've heard consistently from bloggers, and I've struggled with this myself with my own blogs, is using email as a way to connect with your audience. And you even mentioned it in some of the ways that you have monetized your email list in, having sponsors and working with brands to like have that direct line to your people. But what would you say is kind of an encouragement maybe to somebody who doesn't feel like they're quite getting that engagement right now or that connection with their people? Like, are there some first things to start doing, or even just reframing that as a different, way of thinking about it?
Listen, connection is everything, especially right now. I feel like we are in a connection economy, right? It used to be, and maybe you've been blogging for a while, and it used to be like, oh, sell courses and ebooks and things like that. And now it's more of like accountability and connection that people are wanting and people are buying, right? It's not that people aren't buying. Y'all, I went to Disney. People are buying, okay? Like people are, as I wear a Mickey Mouse shirt, I bought it, right? With my money. But people really need that connection piece right now. And so with email, it's this unique thing where it's a little more intimate space, right? It's more than a blog post comment, it's more than an Instagram or a Facebook group comment, right? When you can connect via email, that's when you can really almost guarantee that loyalty, right? I say it with love. You are not the only food blogger out there, and you might be a sourdough blogger. But y'all, I did a webinar with Kit yesterday, and homie typed in the word bread into the creator network, and there were hundreds of bread bloggers, right? Or maybe even thousands. I don't know. We only had a couple minutes, but you are not the only person doing what you do. But guess what? Whether somebody found you on Instagram or Pinterest, or maybe you're running little ads here and there, there's a reason why they followed you. There's a reason why they were like, yep, save this recipe, right? And you've got to remind them of that reason. That reason is you, right? Madison and I, we met at Flavor Media, and every speaker on the stage was like, insert more you, right? Like you can have them. And I love you. I love food bloggers so much. You guys are like the honor students, and everything you do is so pristine. But when you clean everything up so beautifully, sometimes you lose yourself and you can't make connections, the connections that you need to combat all these Google changes, all this AI overview, all this, all these changes that are changing the way you're getting traffic. You can keep your traffic, you can keep your connection with email, with connecting with your subscribers, with getting replies, creating that loyalty, injecting you into it, right? Making sure when you send emails, putting a little, like putting your flavor, the same way you put your little personality and your flavor into your recipes, you got to put those in those emails, baby, because connection is where it's at.
Do you have a few like super practical ways that people can do that? And I'm thinking of a couple off the top of my head that I learned from you, so I can fill in the gaps if you don't think of them all. But what are ways? Because I totally agree. I think that we've gotten so used to things having to be like buttoned up and done like the SEO template type way that sometimes when we start to unravel that, we're like, I don't know how to do this. So give us some super practical ways. Like, what does that actually look like in an email? Are we talking welcome sequence? Are we talking your weekly newsletter? Like, where does this all go?
Yeah. Yeah, my bad. I was
You're
on
good.
my soapbox, y'all. I wasn't giving you the how. I'm sorry. I was just lecturing you. Listen, it's really simple. Start with yes or no questions. You can start this in the welcome sequence with the very first email. P.S. Have you ever made sourdough? Hit reply yes or no, right? Or, if you're a cake blogger, P.S., have you made a cake in the last 7 days? And it has to be a yes or no question because everybody and their mother is emailing them. They don't know you yet. They're not your friend, but we can get the conversation going. When we can open up a conversation, we can close a sale later. Whether close a sale means get them to click over to the blog or buy your cookbook, click on the affiliate link, watch your YouTube, whatever it is that call to action is, but we got to open up the conversation. Okay. So, very easy yes or no questions. Put those in your newsletters as well. Also, doing something like polls or getting people to click yes or no, is a really good way to just drive very simple, basic engagement. So, it's the same way you wouldn't. Listen, I'm not a cook, okay? Like I can barely make a steak and it's my favorite food, okay? Um, you wouldn't automatically come over to my house and try to teach me this, 5-course meal. You would start with the most basic. Liz, this is how you boil water, baby. Let me show you. We're not going to burn the pot today, right? You would start with something super basic for me, right? That's the same way we're going to start as a beginner. We're beginning the friendship here. So simple yes or no's, simple this or that questions. Do you prefer to batch your meals or are you a person that just cooks one meal at a time? Hit reply, let me know, this or that. Very easy questions. Those are perfect ways to start that engagement. And then from there, ask people to be involved in your content. Here are my next 3 recipes I'm going to make. Which one should I do first? People love to give their opinion, right? We all, whether somebody asked for it or not, somebody's dishing out an opinion, right? So we might as well ask them to be involved in our content, right? Oh, I'm going to make a video about A or B. Which one? I can only do one this week, right? And then the next week, you guys chose A. Here it is. That makes them feel involved. That gets them invested. That's part of that connection piece so that, when they check their email, oh, there's Shahara, there's Nahaku, right? I'm going to click on theirs because I know that they put me as a part of their blog and I like that.
Yeah, and I love that you explained that it's like starting at square one with this person. And I think some of us get so excited that like we have a new person and, or we're just excited to kind of share what our mission is behind our blog. And I know that over time it can feel like, well, I didn't really train my people to like respond to me, and now nobody's responding to me. And so I love that this is a really like simple way to kind of walk that backwards. And it doesn't involve like even putting yourself out there and putting a picture of yourself, because I know a lot of food bloggers struggle with that too. I know another like fun way that you like to do this is with your gifts in your emails. Like people don't have to be able to do that necessarily, although it is really fun. So that's another like advanced tip from that I learned from Liz. But I love that it's just so simple, right? Like we tend to overcomplicate this so much. And I remember one time, I don't know where this was, but someone was saying even like asking your audience like what's for dinner can actually be like really stressful to ask them if they're like, I don't know what's for dinner. Why'd you just
Yes.
ask me that? But if you say like, have you ever made sourdough? But like there's no emotion in that. It's either I have or I haven't, right?
Amen. And y'all, I'm gonna say something with love. If your first email, if the very first sentence is, "I'm so excited you're here," guess what? So is every other food blogger that's wrote a welcome sequence. It sounds the same. Put a little personality into it, right? The same way you would never. You would be so offended if someone was like, "That recipe tastes just like the one I made last week." You would be like, but I told you to put sour cream in it. Isn't it different?" Right? You don't want your welcome sequence. You don't want those first emails, especially, to look just like everyone else's. Because guess what? I'm going on Pinterest. I'm saving 5 recipes at a time. And so, guess what? I'm getting 5 emails at a time. And if they all say, "Hey, Liz, I'm so happy you're here," I'm going to become tone deaf to that. I'm blind to it, right? So if you can find a way to say something else, like for me, I say like, "Woohoo, you made it. You found me. I'm so excited." Even that, I'm still saying I'm excited, but I've made it me. I've made it Liz. So make it yourself, putting a picture. And y'all, again, I say it with love. I know all of you have this very professional photo in your professional kitchen. There's not there's not a crumb in sight, but guess what? Everybody else has that picture too. What's a picture that can distinguish you, right? If you are a family blogger, do you have a picture with your family? You could even put emojis over the kids' faces if that's not your thing. But that even would stand out, right? If you are a cake blogger, maybe put a picture of the first cake you made. That's going to stand out. Be like, "Hey, by the way, I wasn't always this way. Here's a picture of the first cake I made." Hashtag nailed it, right? Or something, right? Anything to stand out, especially in that first email. You know, think less about how do I make this look as beautiful as, the pictures that I have in my blog, and how can I make this look like a real person who really cares and wants to get to know my subscribers is writing it.
And I think just to add a little nugget to that, I think that makes it easier for people to respond, and I think we kind of don't realize that as, because we want to be professional. We want to look like we're the expert in our field and stuff like that. But in doing that, sometimes we can create this like invisible like field between us and our people, because we are portraying ourselves like on a pedestal, even though we don't mean to do that. And so I
Right.
think especially for people who maybe have, a type of food that they're sharing that is sensitive in some way. Maybe it's allergy related or it's like a healthy recipe. Like there's a lot of emotions that are tied up into food. And I think we don't always realize that. So level the playing field and like show up like a real person, dirty dishes in the background and all. And you're probably gonna have better luck with connecting with those people, right?
I love that so much. Such a great point. I always say like, "Oh, I'm only semi-pro." And guess what? I get replies and clicks and all that jazz, and people love it. They're like, "Liz, you give me permission to make mistakes." And I think especially with food, especially with recipes, we need to be able to make mistakes. That's how we're going to perfect it.
And that's how people learn too. So, okay, elephant in the room. How much time should we be spending on email? Because I know, well, and I will just kind of set the stage of like, especially going into holiday season or the beginning of the year where you have like the healthy blogger kind of those healthy bloggers see more traffic. We're in a season where everything around us is saying email more, send more emails every week, which I think we can probably both agree on. But the other part of that is always like, I don't have time for that. So, one of your kind of stances is that you shouldn't be spending more than 20 minutes writing emails every week. So, talk to us about like maybe that frequency level. Is that something that you do recommend? And then, like, any pointers you have for like keeping it simple and making this a manageable thing that we can do within our weeks.
Yeah, so if you don't have time to write it, chances are your person doesn't have time to read it. Like you ain't the only busy one, babe, right? Our readers are just as busy as we are, right? So we definitely want to write our newsletter in 20 minutes or less. And you can do this really quickly, greeting, hey, Madison, hey, Liz, and then just a quick personal update. This is that connection piece, something that you did since the last time you emailed. It can be related to the blog. Oh, I bought a new camera, I got something new for my kitchen, or it can just be something relatable, like, oh, my fridge broke and I had to, it took way too many days to get a new one. Just something relatable, right? Took my dog for a walk, then I was late to the doctor's, just something you might think like, oh, nobody cares, but it's that connection piece, right? Small talk exists for a reason. Everybody says they hate small talk, but guess what? If everybody skipped the small talk, you would be like, whoa, I'm not your friend. Like, let's get to know each other first, right? So it's just that small talk piece and then segue into your content. And this is where, hey, I got 3 recipes up on the blog this week, or, it's the holidays. So I'm digging through the archives. Here's 5 of my, top Christmas recipes for you, or whatever. Right. And then get the heck out of there. Nobody cares. I say it with love. Get in there, get to the point, get out. So again, that's just a greeting, short personal update, segue into the content, and get out of there. Now, of course, with the holidays ramping up, if you want to send more than 1 email a week and you have that content, that's great. Everybody and their mother is going to be ramping it up. So you want to stay top of mind. I personally, starting October 1st through Christmas, I email daily. I skip the weekends because I have a life, but and so do you, and so do my readers. But I do email much more often because I want that traffic. I want those clicks. I personally have a digital product that I sell on Black Friday, so that helps. But yeah, I would recommend if you can, then definitely try to increase that, but don't spend more than 20 minutes writing the email. It's even if you have a 50% open rate, that means half of them aren't going to see it. So you can try next time, right? So don't spend too much time on it.
Do you have any advice for like the formatting side of things? Because I totally get it. If we're keeping it short and sweet, it should be easy to get that in and out in like 20 minutes. But I know a lot of food bloggers will, include images and like their emails just look really well done and designed. And so obviously that's going to take a little bit more time, even if you're using something like Kit, which we both do, and you have like a good broadcast template set up. But I know for some people who use like Flowdesk, that doesn't really exist as much. So any advice for like kind of finding that balance between like I want it to look good and, again, be professional, but also like making sure I can get it done quickly, and any thoughts you
Yeah.
have on like images specifically in emails.
Less is more, baby. Less is more. I know we want it to look so good. We do, especially food bloggers. I say it with love. Y'all are the worst. Y'all really overthink this so much. It's not a blog post. I'm going to say it again. I know you're walking, you're driving. Listen to me. This is not a blog post. It is not going to live in perpetuity for tens of thousands, hopefully, fingers crossed, millions of eyeballs. It's going to be read once, it's going to be deleted. Okay. So we don't have to overthink this. Please, I know you're wearing a name tag right now and it says, hello, my name is perfectionism. Take it off, baby. Take it off. Okay. This is an email. Especially if we want to go back to that original question of connection, Madison said it best. Like, if we can be a little looser, we can create those connections, right? If we can kind of, breathe and leave room for, something that's less than perfect, then you're going to connect better. So, yes, of course, if you have a very beautifully aesthetically pleasing blog, you want your email to match, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need images in every single email. You don't need a header and a footer. You don't need, pictures everywhere. Less is more. Maybe one or two pictures. Maybe, you have a footer but no header or vice versa. And honestly, when it comes to formatting, and I know this might shock you, but vary it. Sometimes do text only. Sometimes have that beautiful, perfectly templatized email. Other times do something in between. Y'all know it. Nobody likes to eat the same recipe every single night, right? Nobody likes to look at the same email. If it's the same email over and over, guess what? I'm blind to what the content is. I'm just looking at the pictures. I'm scrolling. The more you have in your email, the less action your person is going to take. Okay. We need something simple, to the point, sure, on brand, but please, please, please don't overthink it. Don't think everything has to be perfect. Don't think you need left, right columns and images. One image will do, some text, and get out of there.
I'm really glad that you said the thing about varying what you're doing too, because that was another like thing that I learned from you. Have not done great at implementing that so far, but I think it's really I mean, I honestly hope people are hearing that and it's a breath of fresh air and not just a like, oh, another thing that I have to do, because I think knowing that you can vary it means that you could wake up and be like, "Oh, shoot, I didn't write my email today. Like, let me just get it out the door. Let me like just not think about it so much and just send kind of what's on my heart." And I think that's where, we have walked this line as food bloggers of feeling like we have to do things the SEO way, which means stripping away all the personality and not telling our story, but it's like the email is where we can do that. And it's ironic to me that we've turned it into a place that we like think we can't do that, but we can if we want to. So I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think that's great.
Awesome. Yeah, y'all. Variety is the spice of life. And I love just getting up and shooting an email. And if I got an email from you when all your emails are perfectly curated and you just sent me a quick text only, hey, these are my 3 favorite recipes this week. Check it out. I'm probably more likely to click because it's so, off the wall, out of character, that I'm like, oh snap, they really want me to see these. So I'm excited. Oh, I'm getting excited to see what people do.
Do you with in that same vein, I guess, do you send your emails at the same time? Do you vary that as well? Or is that one of those areas that you have a strategy or that you're kind of just like go with the flow?
Listen, I'm mostly around the same day and time. It doesn't have to be, like within 20 minutes, but normally I send my weekly newsletter Tuesday afternoons. Why? Because that's when I get my butt in the chair and I don't have anything else scheduled. Okay. It's there's no more strategy behind that. But I will say, every once in a while, I'll vary it either because I forgot on Tuesday and now it's Wednesday, or it's like, oh, let's see if we can kind of jumpstart this open rate. Let's send it on Monday instead of Tuesday, right? So it is a good idea to create a pattern for people, a habit like, oh, on Tuesdays, I check Liz's email, right? But it also, and that's the same in life, to be spontaneous sometimes, and that can help as well.
And, to be completely fair, and you've already said this, I think that consistency would really matter if it was one email that we were getting, but we're getting hundreds of emails. So while in theory, I know that Liz's email comes on Tuesday, the truth is our readers probably don't know that, like, and probably don't remember that unless we have somehow really, really trained them to know that. So again, that's one of those areas like I think consistency is great for us as creators because it helps us to stick to it, but probably less important for like the reader's benefit as much as it is for ours.
Absolutely. People check their emails all day, every day. Like, I think there was a survey or a stat that came out a couple years ago, and it said something like 80% of mobile users, the very first thing they do on their phone in the morning is click their email app.
I mean, I believe it. I think it's definitely one of those things that is just habitual. Okay, last little like nugget that I would love to get your thoughts on is subject lines because again, this is another thing that we talked about at Flavor Media Summit and you do a really great job of writing enticing subject lines and I'll be honest, I think a lot of food bloggers are like new recipe, beef stir fry. And it's like that isn't really enticing,
No
even
one
though
cares. Hate to
exactly.
interrupt. Nobody cares. I say it with love. That's what they're searching on Pinterest and Google, right, Madison? When it comes to subject lines, have some freaking fun. You do not have to follow Google. Google is not God in the inbox. You like that's what I love about email, and coming from a blogging background, it was all Google SEO. What does Google say? What does the Pinterest SEO say? All this, but the inbox is so different, y'all. So write your subject lines for a friend, like for that person that is going to open every email and just really likes you, and you want to have some fun with that person. So have fun with your subject lines. I think food bloggers in particular are super guilty of the long subject line. Y'all, again, we're checking on our phones. We can't see your subject line. We can only see like 3 or 4 words. And, if half of them are new recipe, I'm not getting to the word tenderloin, right? Like I can't see it. And so I really want you to have some fun with your subject lines. Write your email, inject personality into it, and then write the subject line, right? The subject line is not a headline. It is a subject. Like, what's the subject of this email? Is it, you know, if you're doing that personal update, is the personal update about that appliance? Your subject line could be like, whoops, my fridge broke. That has nothing to do with the recipes, but it's a lot more intriguing if I know I don't want to make beef tenderloin this week and that's your subject line. I'm not even going to open the email. But if I want to know about your broken appliance, which I probably do because I'm nosy, I'm going to open that email, right? I've also been experimenting for about a year now with one word subject lines, and those work so well. So maybe the subject line is just tenderloin. Maybe the subject line is fridge or in my fridge, just something so super freaking short that people, number one, it stands out in the inbox because everybody's subject lines are super long. Yours is super short. It's literally physically going to stand out, visually going to stand out. But then it's so like, why is the subject line fridge? What? I got to open this, right? It's so intriguing. Most people can't help but click.
Yeah, it takes advantage in a good way of that curiosity and that,
Mhm.
yeah, it just creates that interest. Do you I can't remember this from your emails. Do you use the preview text or do you just like nix that all together?
Sometimes I use the preview text, sometimes I don't. So if my subject line is like 3 or 4 words, I might not use the preview text because usually if you don't use preview text, the first line of your email will go in there. So usually the first line of my email is exciting enough, right? It's oh my gosh, Madison, right? Like that's a good preview text. I don't have to write it. But if especially with the one word subject lines, like if I'm doing or I think the other day I had a subject line that said, tell me. And so the preview text, I said, no, really, I want to know. Right. So it just kind of, I'll tell you what. And then I kind of answer what's in your head. So that's how I use the preview text. I think of what are they thinking when they read the subject line, and how can I kind of combat any objection? Like, tell me what? No, really, I want to know. Like, oh, okay, fine, I'll click on it. Right. So thinking of it as if they're objecting to opening the email because the subject line isn't quite there for them, what can I put that's extra juicy to make them click?
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's again, it's more it just depends, right? Like you're not going to include a photo every time. You're not going to have 5 words in your subject every time, but like there might be times where you need to. Do you have any last thoughts about selling to your email list? Because I that probably could have been an entire 30-minute episode, so
Yeah.
forgive me, but I know that this is an area where again bloggers really struggle and they're comfortable enough with like the quote unquote selling of the recipe in their email, but any like I guess just punch of wisdom or advice that you would give to creators who are like I have affiliate products, I have maybe even a digital product like an ebook, like how can they, especially when email is like their priority, focus on the selling part?
Yeah. Number one, do not be afraid, my dear. Listen, you got mouths to feed, you got a stomach, like all that requires money. So don't be afraid to sell. Everybody else is doing it. So you jump on the wagon, baby. Like People are used to buying an email, so you're not bothering them. They opted in to hear from you. You are fulfilling that promise. So don't be afraid and do it right off the bat. I don't care if you've got 10 people on your list, 10,000, 100,000, right off the bat in that welcome sequence. Hey, I'm going to offer you free and paid resources like my cookbook, like this insert affiliate product, and like my podcast. You can insert a free one, list a free one, and then list two paid ones, right? Just right off the bat, even if they don't purchase, they know you're using this as a marketing channel. And that's very, very important. I see a lot of bloggers, oh, well, I'm not going to sell until I have 1,000 people or until this is done. No, tell them upfront, even if you're not selling yet, tell them upfront you're going to sell so that when you do, you're not breaking some sort of unspoken contract, right? So doing it really right up front, doing it often. If you can't see me, but I've got like a whole calendar in the back and I've got all the things I'm selling for the whole year mapped out, right? You don't have to go that far, but look in the next 90 days. It is your job to sell. It's not just going, oh, it feels so right to launch today. Everything's just perfectly in place. No, that's never going to be a thing, right? So you have to map that out. Like, oh, Black Friday is coming up. That's the largest shopping day in the whole freaking world. I am going to launch something. I'm going to put my cookbook on sale. I'm going to bundle this stuff. I'm going to share my affiliate link, right? Put it on the calendar and then it will happen. It is your responsibility to sell. It is not just going to happen. You have to make it happen. So again, don't be afraid. Put the dates on the calendar, get it done. And if something goes haywire or you're not quite sure your next step, be sure to call Liz Wilcox because I'll help you out.
I love it. And such good advice. All of this has been really good advice. So, where can people go and continue to learn from you? Because you have so many other awesome things to say and share. And I know that food bloggers are going to want to subscribe and listen to all the things.
Yeah, so of course, I'm an email marketer. I want you to join my email list. You can go directly to lizwilcox.com. In the top right hand corner, you can't miss it. There's a hot pink button. It's going to give you a welcome sequence to show you how to inject those personality, those yes or no questions. It's going to give you 3 newsletter samples to show you how to get people to click, reply, and buy directly from your newsletter. And if that's not enough, I'm going to give you 52 subject lines. Writing from scratch totally sucks. Let me do it for you. lizwilcox.com, hot pink button.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Liz, for your time today and sharing your knowledge. So fun, as always, to chat with you and learn from you. And until next week, food bloggers, we'll talk to you soon.